Today, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, we'll go through all of Ben's crushes and relationships, from Patty Jenkins to Esther of the Grajo. Ben's first crush would be in 3rd grade on a girl named Patty Jenkins, but later on, at the age of 10, Ben would meet Kai Greene, a Navajo girl from Arizona who was the granddaughter of a former plumber, Wesley Greene. When Ben first met Kai, he saved her life after she was caught in a flood and would then go on to try and impress her, bragging about how many times he went hero. Once Ben began to unlock his Laboan transformation and went through the transition, Kai became more interested in Ben, even when he'd embarrass himself in front of her. When the day was saved and Ben had fully unlocked his new alien form, Blitzwolfer, formerly known as Ben Wolf, he approaches Kai once more just before his leave. Kai tells Ben that he just isn't her type, and only thought he was cool when he was a Laboan, as she saw him as a pet who she could train and teach tricks to. This crushes Ben, but it didn't stop him from thinking about her, and the two would cross paths once again later in life, but I'll get to that later on in the video. Elena Valadis would then enter Ben's life. Elena was one of Ben's first major crushes during her time in Bellwood, and they become even more close once he stood up for her, convincing his soccer team to let her join. Although after her father, Victor Valadis, was caught stealing technology from the plumbers, she was forced to leave, with not having seen Ben again until they were 15, where they saved her father and the rest of the world from being controlled by the Nanite Queen. After these events, Elena would then go on to return home and join the plumbers. Elena would eventually return, now controlling the nanochips, with her goal being that she wanted to have Ben to herself, which didn't work, as Ben had been with his girlfriend at the time, Julie, and only wanted the best for Elena. After these events, she'd be separated by the chips by unknown circumstances. I'd already discussed Ben and Julie's relationship in my previous video, where I asked the question if Ben had ever truly cared about her, so here I'll simply summarize what I said in that video. Julie Yamamoto was Ben's first actual girlfriend, and at the beginning of their relationship, the two made it known just how much they cared for each other. But like all relationships, there would be tests. Although these tests weren't your average relationship problems such as intimate issues or lack of communication, they'd consist of saving her alien pet ship and Ben not having any time to be with Julie due to his job as a plumber, mostly putting his work before his relationship. There was a moment where the public believed Ben was in a relationship with actress Jennifer Nocturne after the hero saved her life, shared a kiss, and went to dinner. Although she may have been interested in him, Ben knew better, not wanting to get caught in the world of celebrity, and stuck with Julie through and through. With all these complications, Ben and Julie would eventually solve their problems before a year later when they would break up, due to Ben not taking their relationship seriously, as Julie was. After these events, Ben would meet Julie again, not realizing they had broken up, and found out she'd moved on to dating her photographer boyfriend, Hervé. Ben would try to win her back, but would quickly respect her wishes and understand that she had truly moved on and was quite happy. In a possible future, where Julie is a famous sports celebrity, she and Ben are still good friends. When Ben met a girl named Eunice, things were a bit complicated to say the least. At the moment, Ben was with Julie but mistook their last argument as a breakup. He was quick to move on and wasn't afraid to show his interest in the new alien girl, who quite literally dropped into his life. For reasons I'll explore in another video, Eunice was attracted to Ben as well, but had to part ways with him once she discovered her true origins. Now working as an assistant to Asmith, mostly doing work on Primus, the two would meet up some other times in life and would easily be able to express their feelings towards one another even with just one look. Somewhere in between his relationship with Julie and Eunice, Ben dated a nice girl named Emily, who was his cousin Gwen's best friend. The two only went out on one date, and towards the end of it, Ben had to hear her up, turning into Spider Monkey when webbed up and left Emily on a 200-foot tall tower. In Ben's defense, it was for her own safety, but that wasn't enough for her to not still be upset with him about it. Ben met the carefree Esther of the Crowhole when he was chasing her across the rooftops of Bellwood while she had been in possession of a stolen fusion engine. Although Ben had been oblivious to it at first, Esther made it clear that she had an interest in him, and those feelings would grow once she helped her take her rightful place as the leader of the Crowhole. Before Ben would see Esther again, he'd be introduced to Looma Red Windand, a Tetraman princess who'd been engaged to his best friend Kevin. In order to save his friend and the Earth, as it was threatened to be destroyed if the wedding didn't commence, Ben challenged the princess, and although no matter what form he took, she was stronger than he was. Through determination, Ben won the fight, with the cost. When a female Tetraman is defeated in combat, they are then engaged to the one who wins the fight, thus restarting the engagement clock with Ben, who had been acknowledged of these rules only after the challenge. Looma, not wanting to wait for the wedding, went off to collect the 4 items of the event: something conquered, something bruised, something severed, and something blue. The something conquered being one of the Crowhole from Esther's tribe. Esther would then go on out to seek Ben for help along with Julie and Hervé, who had been mistaken for Gwen and Kevin, causing them to be caught up in the situation as well. Not knowing Ben and Julie broke up, hearing that Julie was in a relationship with her betrothed, Looma captured the girl, but Julie fought back, winning their battle, with Looma respectfully accepting her defeat and left the planet, but not before threatening to crush Julie's skull the next time she saw her. Ben and Esther would go on a couple of dates, one of which Ben wasn't aware of, and although he seemed to enjoy their first date, albeit he spent most of that time stuck in his apoplexian form, being controlled by Nancy Chan. Looma returns to Earth, finding the males on her planet lacking, only finding interest in the only Tetraman who has ever defeated her, Forearms. While she is doing this, a tale of the incursions also heads to Earth in pursuit of Ben, after she'd become quite fond of his incursion form, Bullfrag, wishing him to rule by her side. Looma and Atale worked together alongside Esther and Rook to free Ben from his mind control, and successfully did so, but found a new problem once the two leaders forced him to turn into their respective species, using a device that would force a transformation onto the hero. After the remote was destroyed, Ben convinced the two that they didn't need someone to rule beside them, and Looma and Atale go off to become rivals, wanting to prove to the other how much better of a leader they could be, leaving Ben with Esther. Although they had good chemistry, Ben only saw Esther as a friend. Having the intent to inform Esther of this, the Crowhole beat him to it, telling Ben that she had now been in a relationship with an acquaintance of his, Antonio. Ben would cross paths with Kai once more, when she'd asked for his help after her father had been taken by the Forever Knights. After helping Kai and her father, the two would express that it was nice to see each other again before parting ways. Before Kai would visit Bellwood to host a museum exhibit on alien artifacts. This would be the same time and place of Ben and Esther's date. Kai would regret inviting Ben until the thief Subdura would try to steal the artifacts, causing Ben and his friends to stay in the museum overnight and try to catch her. When Ben and Kai get stuck in a room together, they'd argue and yet banter and bond, before getting out and continuing the mission to stop Subdura. After the artifact is lost, Kai is saddened by this, as Ben, who wishes to comfort her and assure her, fails to do so. The two would meet again, with Ben going to South America to inspect an ancient temple with alien origins. Aware of a possible future where they end up together, Ben would tease Kai about this, calling her Mrs. Tennyson and Sweetie, making his growing feelings known. After being a contestant on the Most Dangerous Game show that put almost every girl Ben has ever met against each other to compete to see who would be his wife, Kai wins. But the two quickly realize the game wasn't just a game when they have to retrieve the loser from the null void. Afterwards, the two would then cement their relationship, which will carry on into a potential future. And those are all the relationships of Ben Tennyson. Who do you think Ben should have ended up with, or who he had the most chemistry with? Honestly, I always thought that Ben would end up with Charmcaster in some way. I mean, before she went crazy. Actually, even when she was crazy, Hope was always a character who suffered from loneliness, and I feel like out of anyone, Ben with his glass half full attitude could help her understand that she could trust people again. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.